Actually, I think it's a good question. It was a really important record for us. But it was just that the band was heading in that direction. The Love album was essentially one of our first steps. We were just getting more and more rock orientated, and Rick Rubin's production on electric really pushed us, somewhat kind of clumsily, but he pushed us into a real obvious rock and roll thing, and it was just a cool record to make at the time. It was before Guns N' Roses and had ever even done anything. It was it was just a cool record and a cool period to be involved playing.
What about the last album?
That's the best one, and you all should go out and buy it.
Do you think that it's the best album of the band, or are you satisfied? Because you weren't satisfied.
Everything else we've done, I think song-wise, the new album has as good songs as the content of the songs is as good as any cult album, probably better. But I don't necessarily know whether it's going to have the same commercial appeal as other of our albums. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that it's not a good album. I think that it's just a musical statement that we had to make. Those were the songs we wrote. Those are the lyrics and what Ian wanted to say. And I don't think it's our most commercial record. Therefore, it's not going to sell as well as other records. But it doesn't mean it's, a lot of people confuse success with quality. Do you know what I mean? They're not quite the same with the
It's not a commercial album. I've heard it a lot, and I think it's...
The sound of it's not very commercial, I don't think.
You don't think so?
No.
Well, I felt some kind of influence there, like in Secret Life. I felt something about David Bowie, am I right?
I would say that most most English people of our age would have to have been influenced by David Bowie, because he was such a huge star in England in the early 70s and did such, the changes of the music that he made was so influential, certainly to me. I mean, he was like omnipresent when I was about 13, 14. Some of his songs are still very important to certainly to us three. I don't know about Scott, but for us three growing up in England in the 70s,
it's the same.
He was monstrous.
Bowie's really important. I think Bowie never got really the credit he deserved for how influential he was in music. Most people just saw him as some kind of musical pirate, always stealing, but he wasn't. He was always innovative, and he was always doing new things. And he did it in a great way. I mean, coming together like Nick Ronson was amazing when he worked with Lou Reed or Iggy Pop. It's way ahead of his time.
You played 2 new songs here in Brazil, or
Just one.
Just one new song? Well, is it brand new, or you had before recording the album?
It was done during the album period, but we finished it off a couple of months after we finished the album. In the Clouds. The song's called In the Clouds.
In this album, how many songs did you have before for choosing?
We have a lot of bits and pieces of music.
Yeah, we didn't really have, the approach to this new album was a little different. One of the things that we agreed with Bob Rock was to keep the album kind of fresh and highlight the fact that it's a band and work on the interplay between all the musicians, rather than the traditional way of recording, which is, you lay down the drums and then you replace the bass, you replace the guitars. We wanted to keep as much of it live as possible, and a way to do that and keep that spontaneity was we didn't really do any pre-production. Before we went in the studio, we did it every morning. We came in with an idea and we just worked on it. And luckily, nearly every day we came out with something good. So it's just a little different approach. We kept some mistakes, and there's things on that record that are not, technically perfect, but we went for feel rather than, overall correctness.
Was it the first time that you tried to record something live, this kind of everybody together, or?
The electric was done like that, but normally with records, most things get replaced. To be honest, you keep the drums, and even nowadays I know a lot of albums where a lot of the drums, bits of them get cut into the tape. But no, electric was done pretty cool. When we did the Love album, me and the bass player Jamie, we recorded all the guitars and bass, and then the drummer came in and played.
Because Jamie used to play guitar before, am I right?
Well, Jamie was a guitar player in Ritual, yeah. But when he joined the Cult, he got the gig on bass because his friend Ray was the drummer. Our first drummer brought Jamie to the group.
What do you think that, I've listened to a lot of stuff like Southern Death Cult. What do you think are directions of your music now? Is there any definite style, or what kind of directions you have now?
The Southern Death Cult's a completely different band, for a start.
Okay.
Death Cult was done nearly 6 weeks after we'd initially got together. So that's it's kind of like doing your laundry in public, you know. We did like demos in public and released them. I mean, I'd say that, you know, our first, that EP. Okay. Yeah, I think the first real album was the Dreamtime album. You know.
As a go.
Yeah. I mean, principally we're a rock band. You know, the guitar is the most important instrument, it's the lead instrument. And I think we aspire to write good guitar-orientated songs. You know, that are of an electric nature.
Okay. Are you playing anything from Dreamtime, or
No.
what are you playing in the
Well, we might tonight, actually.
Yeah.
We might actually play a song from Dreamtime tonight.
Interesting.
But with such a, well, there's surprises, isn't it?
There's all the surprises.
When do you choose, like, the set list? Before going on stage, or you have it?
Usually while we're on stage.
Yeah. While you're on stage?
Yeah, then, because I like Guy's a mind reader.
O Megadeth, a gente vai continuar vendo mais um trechinho da entrevista do The Cult. Todo mundo reunido, Ian Sibari, Billy Duff e mais Craig Adams também embaixo da banda. Esses Self-Mercy não é brincadeira, vamos usar The Cult depois do Megadeth estreando.
What about the gathering of the tribes? You organized that, like...
Jerry was a Rick for Diver. Jerry was a Rick for Diver.
1990, and there wasn't Lollapalooza yet. Were you like the starter of this kind of alternative concerts and to get together all this kind of bands? Can you tell that?
I think it's kind of obvious what happened.
What happened? Like,
It was my idea. Somebody watched what we did, saw the mistakes that we made, and, you know, did it in a much more proficient way and capitalized upon it.
and how did you keep on doing that? Like,
Why?
you did it,
Too consuming.
it was succeeding.
It was too consuming. You know, I'm principally, you know, I like being in the band. That's what I do. That's what I want to be doing. You know, I don't want to be organizer of a festival. That's not really what I wish to do in my life.
No, you got to understand, there's one big difference between the Gathering of the Tribes and Lollapalooza. Lollapalooza is just like any other American big festival tour. They have a headline act, and that draws most of the people. They have a big name act. Gathering of the Tribes wasn't meant to have a headliner.
No.
It was like whatever. The whole thing was supposed to be a day of music, and it was to get away from the traditional way. But that's why it didn't quite communicate, because Americans tend to like things packaged for them, like McDonald's. They want it very simple. And what Perry Farrell did was the first Lollapalooza, he took Jane's Addiction out as the headline band.
Yeah.
And if we'd have done that with Gathering of the Tribes and played as the Cult as a headliner, it would have been a whole different festival. But we didn't do that. We just played, which we thought was much cooler. We played with one of the Sex Pistols and his band, and we just played a few songs, and Iggy Pop played, and I think what we did was a lot cooler. But you know, it wasn't done for a commercial means, and Lollapalooza is a commercial concern.
Fisher here, do you like playing festivals like Reading Festival? If you were invited to play there, would you like to? Glastonbury, even Lollapalooza?
Possibly, yeah.
We've done those things in the past. We play festivals sometimes. We don't, yeah. I mean, it's fun when you play to a lot of people. We just did a tour of Australia, as you probably know, where it was a festival tour. So they can be fun, yeah. I mean, we just, if anybody offers us them, we think about them and we decide whether we want to do it.